You're frustrated. It doesn't matter, right? Because you might have got the bullet, mate. I think it was very 50-50 which way that was going to go.
I agree.
I think they could have, if they'd have sacked him, you'd have had to go, well, you can't finish 8th, right? Yeah. No manager has finished 8th and no manager has not got Champions League football and kept his job. Yeah. At Manchester United, post-Alex Ferguson.
Jay here for Stretford, Paddock. This is Off the Bat. That's Stephen Howson. That's Joe Smith. And we're going to be talking about Erik Ten Hag.
No, we're not. Show me your pants.
Yeah, all right. Actually, can you stand? Can we see?
Wide leg trouser on.
How much can we get in of him? I'm stand in the corner.
I was just to say that.
Go on, actually, put your leg on here. Go on. Move that out of the way. That's in the way. Right, let me see.
Not even a fucking pause.
It's a little biscuity number. Quite wide on the leg.
You can see the stitch.
It's a heavy pleat.
It is.
Do you know what? I followed Nigel Caborn, right? Who's an old fella that specialises in kind of like real sort of warrior of vintage clothing, and that's the cut.
Ten Hag was frustrated. Apparently he's grown increasingly frustrated because it dragged on. Now it's been dealt with. Do you feel sorry for the kid? I say the kid, he's 54, but I say it about everyone.
A little bit. I think that it's unusual, but the whole situation's unusual. Like, getting new owners halfway through a season is weird, especially when they're replacing owners that everyone knows are shit. Yeah. So it would stand to reason that you would question every decision that the old owners had made since they arrived and analyse whether they're good or bad and to stick with it or not. And the manager is one of those decisions, isn't it, that the Glazers have made. So I understand why they did it. It's a shame it took so long. It's a shame we started hearing that they were interviewing people before the cup final. Not that it mattered in the end, and who knows, maybe it even helped.
It's good preparation.
You don't really want that. And I do feel a little bit sorry for Ten Hag, because if he loses, let's say, 5 of his first 12 games next season, it's going to be really difficult for people to say the owners love him, because they clearly don't love him. They might like him and they might think he was the best option available, but if they loved him, they wouldn't have done a big review, would they?
Loads of sideways glances in that box of seats just in front of Fergie. Loads of that.
So there's a bit of that in there, but obviously we'll go through the sort of finer details of it as we go along. But I think fundamentally, if I'm Erik Ten Hag, deep down I would think it kind of makes sense. They're new, they want to see what I'm about. The results have been shit, I can't deny that. So I get that they're sorting everything out. But on the other hand, you think, give me a little bit of back in here.
Yeah. Also, you're frustrated. It doesn't matter, right? Because you might have got the fucking bullet, mate. I think it was very 50-50 which way that was going to go.
I agree.
I think they could have, if they'd have sacked him, you'd have had to go, well, you can't finish 8th, right? Yeah. No manager has finished 8th and no manager has not got Champions League football and kept his job. Yeah. At Manchester United, post-Alex Ferguson. That's the rules. That is the watermark that you have to hit. Last year, got Champions League football, kept his job, right? And that might be far too binary to be able to work long term as any sort of system. And I think the unbelievable record that he got in the first season.
But that was his first.
No, he came second and third.
No, he came 6th in his first season.
But
I don't think that's not on it. That's not on him.
He took over a failing season, I think, which is probably why he got
he had second and third finishes, and I think that's his full season.
Right. He wasn't his full season.
Rephrase it. Nobody with a full season.
Sorry, I went full Twitter then on you.
Yeah, no one with a full season. I don't want guitar lessons.
I think you'll find.
I'm sorry, I was thinking out loud. I didn't mean to do that. It's like
I think. Why are you telling us, or why is it being leaked that he's frustrated? Guess what? It was a process that they wanted to go through. They went through it. You got the fucking keys. Shut the fuck up and start sorting out next season. How about that? Should we do that?
Ornstein does a tweet. Yeah, here's a scenario for you. And Romano does a tweet at the same time. Contradictory.
Ornstein all day.
Mr. Howson's going.
Depends. Is it Manchester United?
Yes.
Yes, it's Ornstein all day. Is it AC Milan?
Right, okay. Yeah, all right. Yeah, I get your point. If it's Milan, you're going to go with Romano.
Or Inter.
Yeah, no.
I might even push to Venezia in all honesty.
Yeah, do you know what? In that region. What about you? Because you still rate
I still tweet. I still go with Ornstein over Joe.
Yeah,
really?
Well, you throw me in the ring there. No, I'd go Ornstein as well. I do think Romano's underrated. I think people have got a bit sick of he'll repeat the same bit of news over and over again, but he doesn't tend to say something that is untrue. He'll just repeat something that is known to be true 20 times in lieu of any updates.
That is the problem I think Romano's got. Ornstein doesn't need to be that guy.
Yeah.
Ornstein doesn't need...
You nailed that then.
Yeah. He doesn't need to do a tweet every day going exclusive or just regurgitating anything. He's not. That's not him.
It's a little bit of just over the topness. That's what I like about Ornstein is the understated. Here's some outrageous. I don't even know if he puts exclusive on it. I think he just goes.
He does.
Here's what's fucking happening.
He did on the Ten Hag one.
EXCL he puts.
But
see, he don't even bother writing exclusive. No. He just gives you a little bit of a...
But the difference is... I mean, I know David Ornstein obviously will do freelance stuff and work elsewhere, but his job is through The Athletic and New York Times. That's where he... I don't know how his finances are broken down, but that's his job.
Yeah.
Whereas Romano's job is to be a social media influencer journalist, isn't it?
Yeah.
So he has to be on it, impressions and clicks and numbers wise, in a way that Ornstein can be a little bit more reserved because he's getting his wage or whatever through that.
It's one of the reasons I respect what the Athletic have done. By the way, and I've texted Laurie before you all start crying. Fuck Laurie for that fucking absolute dissertation of an article yesterday. Jesus Christ, spread it out. It was great.
It was great.
Well, he's going to be here on Monday, so we can talk about it to him.
I literally texted him saying, I ain't got a fucking newborn to look after. Like, fucking, I'll get a grip. Like, it was far too long. I had to have a nap. I had to go stand outside for a bit.
That's the kind of thing.
And the detail in it was a fucking joke.
Don't give me that.
But yeah, it's not
that kind. That's a proper Stephen Howson type article. That's the kind of thing that you read and go, could have gone a bit more detailed on that, Laurie.
I don't think it was possible to. The only thing I wanted to know what the room temperature was when it was in fucking Monaco.
Yeah,
what did the grain feel like on his feet? Like I was missing that only. It was so detailed.
I want an article when it's like I'm going to have to take a few days off work.
Right, listen.
I'm reading the latest Laurie Whitwell article. To read it.
I am so glad the Athletic exists because give me that all day long.
Yeah.
Versus the ones where you have to scroll through the very like Manchester United playing red in Manchester, and then an advert, and then a fucking
We had a good one. We had a good one today, didn't we?
Fucking hell! I also listened to the Talking of Devils pod last night as well.
Why don't you just marry the Athletic if you want to listen to that podcast?
Oh, because they're a little. Do you think I'd be sitting here talking about Drozen on the Athletic? Carl Anker will have a fucking actual fit. Right, that's not going to happen.
I think that'd be podcast gold. You talk about Carl Anker talk about 19th century French philosophers.
But the thing is, I think Andy gets into it. Yeah. And Andy could go either way, I reckon.
Yeah, he could. That's like...
So, and anyway, so I listened to that last night, and there was obviously talking about what they just posted that day. And I'm like, honestly, it was a genuine fucking dissertation that's going on. But when you've got Carl, you've got Andy, and you've got Laurie, and then you've got David Ornstein, obviously he wasn't working on United, but he would have clearly been liaising with them lot ahead of that article going out. Yeah. You're getting a dissertation.
Yeah, it was in just so it's been said as well as Adam Crafton was listed as a journalist on that. All right, yeah. Big piece with Whitwell as well.
He's not. He doesn't tend to be the United thing.
No, he's a bit more sort of.
He's like Bob Woodward and Carl Bernstein rolled into one. Adam Crafton, and he's always like trying to bring about the downfall of someone or some organisation with absolutely on the money, in-depth journalism. Fair play to him, man. But
that's what I love about the Athletic as an organisation. They went, former great newspaper, now disreputable online blog, or the opposite end of the scale, and they went, we want to live at the opposite end of the scale. There's the click farming that goes on there, or there's pay us a little bit, and it is only a little bit. I think I'm on the deal where we got it for £1, right? So it's £1 a month or something like that. And get like fucking elite top tier journalism.
Do you know what it is as well, right? It's like, I don't be a cliche, but it's like trusting that readers do actually want that. You do want a bit of that. You want more than just, United might do this or they might do
genuinely, who wants the stuff where it's 9 scrolls to get to any info or any quote or anything, because it's that social media nonsense of journalism. The click farming ones that are just trying to get as many ads impressions as possible. So they make you scroll down past all of these ads because then them ads have been seen. And the information that you wanted it's been twisted in the headline. It's like a tweet someone liked by accident that someone's third cousin's security guard did. And you're like, it's not journalism. And there are good journalists working in shit organisations that are...
Do you remember the first time you saw yourself in an article?
It's probably when I took some people on the tour.
Was that? All right, okay.
In a United shirt.
I remember me and Norwood used to do a podcast, and I read an article once, and it said something like Jose Mourinho urged not to sign Jan Vertonghen or whatever. I was like, all right, who's urged him? And it said Jay Marty and Craig Norwood on the Red Mancunian podcast. And we didn't even urge him not to. We just questioned whether it was the right signing. And I was like, oh my God, this paper's gone at the dogs. It wasn't like one of the better ones, obviously.
Doing 5v5 with Rio, but there's so much.
I know there'd be a lot. I was just wondering
every single fucking Monday tea time, there is 15 articles based on it. And I'll see, what's funny is like on a Tuesday or a Wednesday, I'll see something like Rio Ferdinand says something, and I go, oh shit, when's he said that? And then I'm reading it and going, that's not what he fucking meant. And I'm sat next to him when he said it, or it was me that said it. Like,
wasn't there a scenario where, and I think this might have been one of the most bizarre things I've ever seen, but it was true.
It's the Phil Jones thing.
Yeah, where Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is answering a question in a press conference about what Stephen Howson said on a podcast that's somehow been attributed to Rio Ferdinand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Rio ended up apologising.
I was like, I'm about to say, I'm going to read it. Rio didn't say that. Steve did. What you on about?
It's a tough day for Solskjaer, that isn't it?
Like,
being given a question from you that isn't even to him, and it wasn't even from Rio.
It was from you.
That's tough, that.
That just shows the state of journalism, and the people asking questions impress us.
It must, yeah. It's mad that goes on, but I get it to a certain degree because it is an interesting story with someone like Rio or Scholes or whatever says certain things. You think, okay.
Scholes is a madman. I genuinely, he needs to get on Twitter because he like screenshots notes and then just blasts them up on his Instagram story. But he would love Twitter.
Yeah. He was talking about Ten Hag, wasn't he? About the first half of it was basically how shit he's been, but also at least now we know what's going on and let's sort of get behind him, kind of thing. Do you think that a big pressure has been taken off Ten Hag, or do you think he's just as under pressure as he was 6 weeks ago, but now we're into next season? Because it almost feels like, oh, he's safe, but he ain't, the last 6 months of results have been woeful, really.
And he's not really going to have that footballing structure at least running smoothly underneath him. So he's going to be expected to deliver probably with the same structure that's been in place for the last 11 years, more or less, with a little bit of like rolling in glitter from like Jason Wilcox.
It was probably the smallest transfer budget we've had in a decade, by the sound of things.
So do I think he's under pressure? I think the Manchester United manager, I think Fergie was under pressure in the middle of his tenure. I don't think that job comes without pressure. So I think of course he's under pressure, and if he finishes 8th again next year, the FA Cup won't save him. I don't even know if it was the FA Cup or the availability of managers or the 1,000 other things that need sorting and the fan sentiment. Mitten said this yesterday on the podcast. The United fans will be behind Ten Hag. It feels like it was the decision that the vast majority of fans wanted. But he won't be able to repeat what he's just done and be safe.
No, it needs to. It's almost under the proviso that last season was a blip. That the first season is more representative of what you can do and beyond, whereas last season was loads of injuries, weird things going on with people's form that you almost can't account for.
All the off-field stuff with people.
All the off-field stuff as well.
Hopefully you can draw a line underneath that a little bit.
I think get rid of a few people, hopefully have better injuries. We've got to make some good transfers though, haven't they? Because if you look at last season compared to the season before, Casemiro is two different players. Like, you've just lost one of the best defensive midfielders in the league and replaced him with literally one of the worst.
Yeah.
Marcus Rashford is the best attacker other than Haaland and maybe Salah in the league. And then this season he's probably 30th or 40th on that list all of a sudden. Like, we need to at least be as good as 2 years ago, and really we need to improve how are we going to do that with 35 million?
No, you're talking about Martinez coming back and him being key to the way we play. Is he going to stop 10 shots a game?
I know.
Being conceded by us?
No, you're right. I don't think he will, but I think it's not just Martinez. You're right in the sense that he's integral, but also you've lost Martinez and the Casemiro you had in that first season.
Yeah.
That is massive, That's two of not just the best players in our team, but the best players in any team during that sort of... It was a 6 month spell when them two were just unplayable.
United's best players when we finished third were
it was only 6 months.
Marcus Rashford, Bruno Fernandes, Lissandro Martinez, Casemiro and Luke Shaw.
Yeah. Eriksen was bad either.
Eriksen was very good as well.
Before that injury against Reading,
put him in then. So Eriksen this season looks like the same guy but with even less legs.
Yeah.
Martinez was injured for most of the season.
Yeah.
I think Eriksen looks a complete fucking cardboard cut out of himself.
Do you think? What, as in not good or exactly the same?
No, as in just like...
completely gone.
What's happened to him?
Yeah. Casemiro, you could argue the same.
Rashford, worse.
Yeah.
He's not just gone to zero, he's Doug.
Yeah, Rashford is way off it. I don't think he's not done the same drop as those two have, but 10 goals or whatever this season is nowhere near. Bruno's pretty much the same guy, and Luke Shaw's been injured almost all season. So of those 6 players, one of them is even remotely where they were last season for one reason or another.
People forget as well, right? Every team has integral players. Like City lost Rodri for 3 games and lost all 3 games.
Yeah,
like that's not a coincidence.
No.
Arsenal in the first season they had that title challenge. Saliba got injured and the wheels came off. And like they still had almost a full strength team other than William Saliba, and then they stopped winning football matches. So every team has 1 or 2 players they're relying on.
It's the performances and that the fact that we got absolutely pieced up by Fulham.
Yeah. That's where you can't.
We got pieced up by Palace.
Bournemouth, I can't excuse.
And then the amount of shots against everyone. I mean, Everton came and did he put 26 shots on us?
No.
Everton.
I know. I mean, Brentford completely outclassed us in that game.
I think that was the worst game.
I know we drew,
but it was. I think performance-wise, that was as bad as, if not worse, than the 7-0. I know that sounds ridiculous, but look at the amount of shots they had, and it's Brentford.
It is Brentford.
Do you know what I mean? It was.
Yeah, we've got to sort that out.
So, how far do you think it'll go with the fans, Steve? Because Ineos obviously aren't feeling him that much, even though he's kept his job. The fans are buzzing off the FA Cup final win, but like you said, we finished 8th. Do you think it is a case of he's got to hit the ground running to keep the fans on board, or do you think fans will stick with him because of that FA Cup win, because of that first season?
Don't know.
How do you feel as a fan? I know you can't speak for everyone.
No. I don't know. I don't know what the general fan base thing will be like. I think there's been more mooing in the crowd than I've been happy with.
Yeah, I agree
of late. Loads of fucking half-time fucking moos. Loads of them. And I don't like that. I don't think that's the way you support your team or the way you show your fucking displeasure. I don't join in with that. I just fucking sit there and go.
Yeah, it's not just like with Ten Hag and the team. I think like individually as well. Like Rashford, the hate he's been getting at the game, at some games I've seen, where Rashford's always had like the crowd more or less behind.
Yeah, it feels like he's lost the crowd entirely.
Yeah, he feels like he's lost the crowd. 1 or 2 others have as well. And it's not nice when you see that, because I'm with you. I don't really agree with
the same thing with the sponsors and stuff like that. I just want one day it to be able to just completely be fucking head over heels with the club again, like, because we're not. No. Because we've got the Glazers there still at fucking 72.1% in there still. You can't go all in. I feel a little bit dirty if I have anything to do with any sponsor. I feel a little bit like that's not quite right with any of that sort of stuff. I don't feel like I should be able to. We get opportunities to do stuff for the club. We say no sometimes. There's some stuff coming up in the summer that we've said no to because you don't want to do it. And you think, in the position that we're in, we shouldn't be saying no to anything like that, because everything we do is, in support of the club. But because of who owns us and because of the feeling that's existed for the last 19 years, there is a disconnect. And I would love us to get to the point where we ain't no mooing at half time. And obviously that requires success. No, it makes me laugh. We're not one of those channels that does better when we lose. We do worse when we lose. We actually see views grow when we win.
Yeah.
We just chose the wrong fucking time ever to be.
It reminds me of that time when me and you stood outside Chaffing, like those guys came over and started moaning at us about fan channels, and do you remember?
Yeah, I fucking got the stats out.
By the time Steve finished, the guy was walking off and Steve's following him. No, come back, bro. Come back. I've got more to show. He's like, no, you're right, okay, I get it.
Point proven.
Yeah, you point proven. Like, just leave me alone, I'm going home. It's like, Steve's like,
I think that with the ownership stuff, obviously the Rashford stuff and people being a bit annoyed with him or whoever, that goes away very quickly. He starts scoring.
Yeah.
Like people, Maguire, I know you're not a big fan still, and fair enough, but he doesn't get the stick from fans that he did 12 months ago, just because he's had a better season. Yeah. And not a world-class one, but just a better one.
Success is everything.
100%.
So if Rashford gets 6 in his first 10 next season, that's all gone.
The thing with Rashford as well is it's relatively easier as an attacker to do something.
Yeah.
You can get that goal. Like, Maguire could
score 5 in 5, hit your fucking chest a couple of times,
exactly,
and all is forgiven probably.
Maguire could have a really good game, make one mistake, we concede a goal, it's over. Rashford could have a really good game, miss a chance and score, and everyone will still love him. Yeah. So it's a little bit easier on that front. Yeah. So I'm with you on that.
I think the ownership stuff, I do think that obviously no one wants to support the Glazers in any sort of financial way or moral way for what they've done at United. But I do think that it does feel as though they aren't running Manchester United anymore.
No, they're not.
Which is a big difference in terms of how I feel to be able to connect to Manchester United.
No, they're just turning up on the 30th with a wheelbarrow and.
Well, they've paused the dividends for a little bit, haven't they? I think it's for the next 4 years or something at least, which is, I know it's not a lot, but it's something. I do feel slightly differently about Man United as a club and an entity than I did pre-Ineos, because at least it feels like the owners, even if we don't know if they've been successful, they haven't had a chance yet, but at least it seems like they are trying and they care. They want us to do well.
I don't know, met him. I get the impression Jim Radcliffe wants United to be successful.
That's what I'm saying.
Little things, it's still I get your point, it still annoys me with the Glazers, like this whole thing about the staff and their families, whatever, or the staff can't travel down to Wembley on the free travel, and yet we spend £500,000 on the Glazers flying in for the cup final.
Yeah,
still, little things like that still annoy me, because you just want them gone. And I'm glad that Jim Ratcliffe's come in. I preferred him over the Qatari bid, if that was even real. And I'm glad that he's sort of having control of the football side of things. He's not perfect, no billionaire is, but I'd love to get to a place where the Glazers were fully gone and it was just
of course. I still would prefer that.
That'd be much more preferable than what we've got in a minute. But I'll take
even
it.
Even just on the basis that he actually, one, has been to a football match, and two, seemingly the things he says are for us to be successful.
Yeah.
You know, and he talks about having a good stadium and he talks about having successful nights, and like that alone makes him just infinitely better than what the Glazers have been.
And like
the fact that he's put money in.
Yeah. Well, do you know when you see
they never
he's
did.
put £1 billion of his own money in, actually, and he's going to do another couple $100 million. But the other thing as well that I like, and it's not just Ratcliffe himself, but whenever you see footage of a celebrity or whoever going to Old Trafford, he's like, Rio Ferdinand paid a visit. He's meeting Brailsford. He's meeting usually Ratcliffe as well. He's meeting the people who own United, who are on the board, who have just come in with this new partial takeover.
They're there.
Are there?
They're at Carrington in the
real
canteen,
life.
eating with the players and stuff, which you never saw Joel Glazer having a scram with, I don't know, whoever.
Yeah, Henrik Mkhitaryan.
Yeah, it just wouldn't happen, would it?
Do you reckon if you pull that ponytail, you can even get a purchase on it? Because I think it just it looks greasy.
Head goes
back.
You're going like that. Pez comes out.
No, I think it looks greasy. I think you slip right off it.
Yeah, you're hurting yourself trying to grab that.
Potentially.
Bad boy.
Talking about new people coming in, Wilcox. There's been a sort of weird. His role seems to be anywhere from deciding how we play to literally telling Bruno to play false nine. And the fact that Ten Hag was sort of up for that helped him keep his job, according to certain reports about.
Is that a load of bollocks?
But I don't know.
Oh, no, this is the thing though as well, because that's Jamie Jackson. I like Jamie, and we've had him on the channel for about a decade, going back to full-time Devils days. He's not someone I think would just make stuff up. Someone's told him that, who he trusts, but it just sounds so. Let's
assume it's true. Do you like that, Steve? As a technical director giving footballing tactical instructions to the manager?
It depends on how it's delivered.
Right.
Because if it's a text message like, you should do this, fuck off. Like, and how it's delivered and how it's received is everything.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I think if they was like, if he's gone to him and said, what's your plans for the cup final? And Ten Hag's gone X, Y, and Z, and he's gone, I reckon Bruno would work as a false nine if you're thinking of that. And he's gone, yeah, I like that. That's different to him saying, I think you should play this. Yeah. And sometimes the way things get reported are generally not in the same fucking lane as the way things were. Yeah. And I reckon we can find out on tour.
Yeah, I think you're 100% right on that, Mr. House. And we will be on the tour as well. Don't forget to make sure you are hitting like, share and subscribe.
Joe's doing stand-up comedy in LA. Don't know it yet. Cock out, yeah?
Yeah, you should do that. Not your cock out. You should do an open mic.
Open mic. Get a laugh.
Open mic. Get heckled off. It'll be
I shan't be doing it, but thank you.
Let's do it together.
What, cock out or stand-up comedy?
No, I do it, but just knobbing.
Yeah. Right, okay.
Do you think that when you hear usually like, the owner or someone above has told the man, it's like some radical weirdo owner who's like, you got to play him up front.
Why don't you play 12?
Like stuff like that. Nonsense.
Why hasn't anyone thought of this before?
Owners.
I have an idea.
Yeah.
Extra player.
Whereas this is a footballing bloke who's won the Premier League himself, who the technical director's job isn't to pick the team, admittedly, but it is to come up with and help implement a certain set of ideas around the club and the footballing side of things. Like you said, if it's we all have a sort of upper management chat before the games, it's, McLaren and Ten Hag and
could have been a planned meeting where, like, you want to have people in the club that you're bouncing ideas off. Any major decision, any cup final fucking major tactic, you want to go sound some people out. Surely the role of the technical director is that more than anything else. He probably spoke to Darren Fletcher. He probably spoke to Wilcox. That's a good point. He probably, him and McLaren probably batted some back and forward.
Fergie did it in '96. Spoke to Erik, who said put Keno on Manaman.
Yeah.
in the 96 final. And he went,
was Fergie weak for listening to a fucking crazy ass Frenchman?
He's just come back from a ban for smashing someone's head in. And he's like, look, I think you should do that. And he's like, you know what, that's a good idea. Let's do it. And it worked. It was a horrible final, but we won.
If Wilcox is the one Ineos guy that's in the building, you would hope that he's doing something and not just fucking spinning around in his fucking chair.
And it does say in that article that it was a suggestion from Wilcox, not a demand from on high. It's not like, like you say, he said you had to play the new signing because he cost loads of money. It wasn't that. It was reported as a suggestion that Ratcliffe apparently was.
So they probably had a fucking like a table read sort of thing where he was going around what the plan is for the match, and he was like, well, what's your options up front? And he might have said, I don't think Højlund can start. I'd like to put Rashford in. I'd like to put Garnacho in. I think we need the pace of both of those. What's the defensive thing? I think we're going like a 4-2-4. Have you thought about
popping McTominay?
Yeah, he might give him 9 suggestions he didn't use.
Jacob Steinberg, who... Yeah. I mean, he's not flavour of the month with United fans anyway, because he blamed Declan Rice's performance against Iceland on Kobbie Mainoo. Which, if you want to annoy Manchester United fans, A, slag off Kobbie Mainoo, and B, blame him for other players playing badly, then you are going to sort of mobilise the entire fan base against
he's going to play Trent anyway in the Euros, so Kobe will just be rested. So
so there's that, and also this story that has obviously been shown to be completely nonsensical.
I think what's fair to say is he got it wrong.
Yeah,
didn't he? Like, there is no two ways about it. I think even before we got this decision that he was staying, it was reported by pretty much everyone else that it was still 50-50. They hadn't decided.
Yeah, because it was weird.
Did he just gamble? Yeah, I was like, look, it's coming down left or right, I'm going left.
But I think what it could have been, in his defence, it could have been something like the same way DiMarzio reported, United are looking at other options. A plus B equals, they're looking at other options. They don't want that current option.
Didn't just say looking at other options. He said, DiMarzio actually, I think he might have even gone as strong as Steinberg did. And he said, it is certain Ten Hag is gone.
Yeah, okay.
Because I remember putting him on about group chats and going, fuck it.
What's happening here is Jacob Steinberg, right? He's not a United reporter.
Yeah.
He's not. Jamie Jackson covers United City for The Guardian, and you might get the occasional article from other writers who are from The Guardian about Manchester United, but they're not the sort of ones where United is their patch. They've got loads of contacts at the club. They've got daily they're speaking to people involved in Manchester United. So he's probably, I can only assume, got this information of someone that he trusts, but probably isn't as clued up about United as others.
Yeah.
Because he hasn't got a network of Manchester United contacts, because that's not his patch. So he's ran with it, and he shouldn't have done.
Yeah.
Because it's turned out to be untrue, and it's probably damaged his reputation amongst United fans anyway.
Yeah.
Irreversibly. So I just feel that that was a bad one, especially when you throw into the Kobbie Mainoo.
I think the timing of it was a difficult thing as well, wasn't it? It was 2 days before the cup final, and then we've got this sort of flashback to Louis van Gaal all over again. They did say that the meeting they had, something like the 14th of May or the 4th of May, concluded in, at that time, they decided to move on from Erik Ten Hag.
Yeah.
So I think the decision had been made preliminarily, if that's even a word, that they were going to get rid of him. And then obviously, let's actually work out how we're going to do this. Okay, we can't. But I do think that maybe he'd heard that. We've had a meeting, we're probably going to get rid of Ten Hag as of right now. That has then changed, and everyone else kind of went, we're not sure yet, and he went for it.
All of the people that I know that are in the know, that I chat to, everyone that I spoke to went, don't know.
Yeah.
But the feeling is he's probably going to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, the same. I think we spoke to a few people and they said the same thing. Ineos playing the cards close to his chest. No one really knows, but it looks like, if I had to guess, I'd go that he's going to go, and that's maybe what my man's done.
The one that's come out recently, and that again, it was in that same article, Marco Silva was spoken to. That's a bit of a surprising one, because he didn't really do the rounds in terms of journalists reporting on him. Like, he's at Fulham, he's been at Everton.
Watford, I think, as
Watford.
well. Watford. Was he?
Maybe.
Yeah, I think he was
Hull.
He did well. They went down, but he revitalised them because they were doomed, and then he got them playing again.
Yeah, but that was a bit of an odd one, isn't it? That he spoke. I think they even got as far as to talking about fees and stuff with a couple of these guys.
Well, do you know what? On one hand, I've kind of been asking for years. I think I might have said it when we were stood outside Old Trafford talking about Mourinho, which was like, you might as well get your shortlist ready now, because Mourinho's going to go.
Yeah.
He ain't going to be here in 10 years, so you might as well start your shortlist now. Maybe they could have done it quieter.
Yeah.
But I don't see anything wrong. And I think if you can be upfront with Erik Ten Hag and say, yeah, we weren't sure.
Yeah.
And we've got to know what the market is out there and see if you are better than what's out there. Now, I don't think that's disrespectful to Ten Hag if you come back and say, we think you're better than what's out there. So it's your fucking train set to go with.
I think that's how they've sort of worded it as well, or the latest reports of that.
Yeah, because the other way coming is like, yeah, it was all right, we couldn't get anything better than you, so you're in. But I think there's a way to spin it, if you like.
Yeah, of course. There's a way to say, actually, we, instead of just blindly following you because you've got another year in your contract, we've genuinely analysed everything about the situation. Yeah. Is there anyone better than you? And you're the best we can get. You're the best on the market. Like, you can frame it as a positive. Like, not only have we not just believed in you, we've checked, and you're still the best. That's actually, if you want to phrase it like that, quite a compliment, really.
Especially when you go, and there's a new deal.
Yeah, you've got to back it up.
That would be. And also, in terms of the pressure thing with Erik Ten Hag, you mentioned earlier, Steve.
Yeah, 'cause if you do it the other way around, you go, anyway, you're sticking around.
Yeah.
I've only got 12 months on my deal.
Cool. See you then.
9 a.m. Monday?
Yeah,
exactly.
I mean, you're always going to be under pressure as United manager anyway, especially when you just finished 8th. Whether they'd just come out straight away and said, we back you, or not, he's still going to be under pressure if he loses, like you said, 5 of his first 12 or whatever. Yeah. I don't think it's like, there's any extra pressure, really. The United manager is always like 3 defeats away from getting sacked regardless. Just some of the managers mentioned. Marco Silva, we've got some records. I mean, won 60, drew 34 and lost 77 in the Premier League. It seems insane.
But we've clearly...
He'd be a real contender for the job. Thomas Frank's another one. Who's got a decent record at Brentford, but again, won 38, drew 30, lost 46. I mean, these aren't the records of someone who should be managing Manchester United. You think that's bad? Gareth Southgate, another one that keeps getting suggested because of his supposed relationship with Dan Ashworth. At Middlesbrough, his win rate was 29%.
Yeah.
I mean, that says a lot. He got sacked whilst they were in the Championship after he got them relegated there. And as Steve always points out, he's the only manager you can think of who's been relegated as an international manager and as a club manager. I mean, he's just not a Manchester United manager, is he?
No. I fucking hope not.
It sounds like there was 2 schools of thought, wasn't there? 2 different types of manager they were looking for. One is young, or not necessarily young, maybe slightly more inexperienced, lower down and has overachieved with a smaller club. Someone like Frank ticks that box perfectly, obviously. He's done very well with Brentford. Or more successful, more proven, but may have more demands in terms of what his relationship is with power. And I think Tuchel was obviously the epitome of one, and probably McKenna was the epitome of the other.
Yeah.
By the sound of it, everyone seems to have been saying, well, if McKenna hadn't signed on for Chelsea, for Ipswich for another 3 years, he would have been the favourite. You hear that a lot of like people, he went a bit early on that contract, McKenna, but he obviously knew something or thought something, didn't he, Kieran McKenna? Because I'm sure if he thought he could get the United job, he would have waited.
Yeah, and I think he's probably he realised he ain't getting it, or maybe had a conversation where a little bit more experience, and it could be yours. Maybe he does okay at Ipswich, keeps them up. There might be a different conversations to be had further down the line if things don't work out of Erik Ten Hag. I mean, Kieran McKenna's 39 in it. He's got potentially another 30 years left.
Do you know what the problem is?
He's a lot younger than Erik Ten Hag.
The problem with managers is it's seen like a little bit like heavyweight boxing when really it needs to be seen more like MMA.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to lose. Yeah. You're not allowed to get sacked. So getting sacked is your losses for a manager. And Fergie was sacked. It just wasn't right time at the right place for him. Doesn't mean he wasn't a bad manager. And I think Tuchel, I've all of the managers that come after him even got close combined to what he did in terms of like a win rate. I don't think they have. Like, sometimes it's the wrong club at the wrong time for the wrong man. Sometimes it's the wrong chairman. Sometimes it's the wrong player. Sometimes it's the wrong style. But there's managers once they've lost. It's kind of like in the same frame of like heavyweight boxers. They lose one and it's over, and a lot of them just fucking call it a day. Where's the Ancelottis and that have just fucking bobbed around? Yeah. Can clearly parcel a team up.
Yeah, that's the mad thing about Vincent Kompany, is it? He thought his reputation with Burnley getting relegated is going to be damaged.
Yeah,
and for some reason his stock rose.
It feels like Italy though is a place where managers can kind of go into a sort of stasis for 10 years, win something in the 90s, be sort of bang average for 10 years, then win something later, and then they're back to the top of Europe again. In England, I mean, you do well, and like you said, like Jose's a perfect example. Came to United, that's the first proper loss on his CV. First time he's been knocked out, and then
now he's got to go Spurs.
Then he got to go to Tottenham.
Disaster
immediately. Then he sort of gets knocked out there as well. Don't even get his trophy. That's a flat on his back. Someone slapping his face kind of knockout. Then it's Roma. Now it's Fenerbahce. Like all of a sudden the ball starts rolling and you've gone. But like sometimes people do well and then not so well and then come back even stronger. But it is hard. You don't get a lot of that in England, especially. No. You don't get many chances. Like, look at Potter, hasn't had a job in 2 years. Like, Solskjaer did well, hasn't had a job in 2 years.
Do you know what's his last job before Chelsea, PSG?
Yeah.
Where he won the league.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did, yeah. Bizarrely, Marco Silva's had a bit of sticking around about him, hasn't he? Think about it. Because he got sacked at Watford and then Everton.
You don't get that at the top, though.
No, that's true.
You get low. There's people like Warnock that have had more fucking clubs than Tiger Woods.
Yeah, that's true.
There's people that are just always getting hired, and I don't know how. How are they doing that?
But even
is it because everyone's got the number?
Yeah, probably.
Because you can't move.
Just can't be bothered. Just ring Tony Pulis.
Just get him in.
Do you know what I mean? Pardew's there if you need him.
Sort it.
Yeah.
But even look at Emery at Villa. If he hadn't already managed Arsenal, he would have been massively linked to the United job, massively linked to the Liverpool job, massively linked to the Bayern job.
Probably linked with the Arsenal job.
But like he's done exceptional things with Villa over not just a season, but a season and almost a half from what he did the year before. Like, he's a clear fantastic man. He's won trophies, big trophies as well at with Sevilla, wasn't it, or Villarreal? Sorry, and Sevilla, I think.
Yeah.
And yet he was linked with no one really this summer. And you think that's just because of the Arsenal job, where he didn't even do that bad.
No, his record compared to Arteta in the same number of games is pretty much the same.
He's a fantastic coach.
The only difference is Arteta lifted an FA Cup. Like, it's
with
not,
his squad.
Yeah, with his squad. And you look at what he inherited there, because he took over from Gerrard, who turned the place into a bit of a bin fire, and he's got him playing football.
See, that's the mark
League.
of a good fucking manager, isn't it? Where he takes what someone like Gerrard is having them cruising towards the Championship, and he puts them in the Champions League.
That is crazy. That is really it is.
And another one like that. Sorry to just keep going with examples. Brendan Rodgers, who I don't want him as United manager, obviously, but did.
Here we go. It's a but.
Yeah. But no, he did very well.
If he was United manager,
very well with Celtic, which whatever. Yeah. Did fantastic with Liverpool compared to all the managers they'd had for 25 years at that point. Almost won the league with
just a fucking cringeworthy fuckwit.
He is a cringeworthy fuckwit, but plays good football. Then goes to Leicester and takes them and wins the FA Cup with them, which I know they'd won the league, but winning the FA Cup isn't easy.
Let's not dismiss.
When was Leicester's last FA Cup?
Yeah, exactly. He's a whisker away from Champions League football 2 years in a row, almost gets it down to like the last day. Then he sort of fails there, and I don't even know where he is now. Is he back at Celtic?
Back at Celtic, yeah.
And but he could have. He's done very well at almost every club he's been at. Certainly for a while.
It's hard for me to hear. Ash loves him.
Yeah.
He obviously was at Swansea with him.
Right,
he was brilliant at Swansea as well.
He was brilliant at Swansea. I imagine
Brendan Rodgers has had success at every club he's been at, and now you look
as
at
a
him
ball-playing defender, like you must love a manager that wants you to get on the ball. Because I know what he said when he went to Everton. He's like, Sam Allardyce would be like, no, stop doing that back in. And he was like, Ash just fucking hated him. Yeah.
Well, it's mad though, because like you say, Brendan Rodgers, Gerrard doesn't slip. He's the guy.
Literally, he's won the league.
He's that guy that delivers that title to the
They should have won the league that season. It was on the pitch errors that cost them. I know they had Suarez being a genius or whatever that got them there, but like you said, if Gerrard doesn't slip, he's won them the league 25 years later.
Yeah, he's a hero.
And now he's like...
And he's probably kept his job for the next 10 years because they're not going to sack him because he delivered the title.
It's fun though, isn't it? Worth it, wasn't it?
Sorry, Brendan.
Do you know what though? Would it have been better or worse than the Klopp Wankfest?
At least that was behind closed doors, though.
No, I wouldn't swap that Gerrard slip for anything. I don't care that City won the league. That was amazing.
Well, I don't care that City won the league.
Yeah.
But would Brendan Rodgers, delivering that one title, would he have loved himself too much from that and gone on and just fucking had his head fall off and just only deliver one title? Or do you think he could have built a dynasty?
I think he could have built something.
Because then he gets back in the market. Because do you remember? I don't really remember him making any big signings. Did he sign Andy Carroll?
No, that was Hodgson, wasn't it?
Dalglish, wasn't it? Dalglish, Carroll signed Dalglish and Suarez. I mean...
Oh, Kenny.
Obviously, Klopp won the Champions League as well, but he only won one title. There's a chance Brendan Rodgers could have won more than one. He could have maybe,
big shoes to fill, one title in 9 years.
That's what I mean.
But he has got some great quotes, Brendan Rodgers.
Got the
Unbelievable.
The Hope one's my favourite.
So this is Brendan Rodgers.
See, I don't know if these are true after David Brent, because they're so close. Yeah.
Let's do Brendan Rodgers or David Brent.
Okay, yeah, this is elite. This is elite podcasting.
Okay. And I'm going to get all of these wrong.
Okay.
There's one I know. For definite, though. But yes, bro.
Is it the Can't Live Without Hope?
Yeah, that one. That one. You know it as well, bro.
Well, let's start with that then, because we already know it.
Right, go on.
I've always said you can live for water for many... Sorry, there we go.
Go on.
I've always said you can live without water for many days.
Not true.
I think it's 2 days.
It's not true.
You can live without water for a year. I don't know. I've always said you can live without water for many days, but you can't live for a second without hope. That's not true.
As a Manchester United fan, the last 12 years has told me that you absolutely can live without hope, but you're about 2 days deep with water, and that's you.
Exactly.
You
know
fucking
what?
knob.
Like, that's just utter nonsense. We've had no hope for a decade.
Right, give me another.
Okay. Is this David Brent or is this Brendan Rodgers? I suppose I've created an atmosphere here where I'm a friend first, boss second, probably entertainer third. Yeah, that is David Brent.
David Brent.
That is David Brent. Okay. They're so good. When people say to me, would you rather be thought of a funny man or a great boss? My answer is always the same. To me, they're not mutually exclusive.
David Brent.
Okay.
Brent, yeah.
Okay.
You got to do better than that.
Okay. I mean, also, I'm just reading quotes. I can't make ones up. Here we go. Right. Here we go.
I'm surprised it's not an app.
I know. Is it not
Brendan
a Brent
Rodgers or
versus
David Brent?
Rodgers thing? I thought there would have been a...
Money in that. Be millionaire by Friday.
Man, come on. There must be.
Remember that when you used to make millions on apps?
I know. Those are the days, weren't they?
And someone made an Andy Tate app.
I know. Amazingly, I think they made a lot of money out of it as well. I don't think Andy did.
What was that? So it's our copyright with the sound and his voice.
And his voice. And they made
That guy made money.
Yeah, they made loads of money.
Well played.
I mean, he talks about players a lot, so it is hard to find ones where you truly don't know whether it's Brendan
just read them
Rodgers.
out.
Okay. My biggest mentor is myself because I've had to study, so that's been my biggest influence.
That's what Brendan Rodgers said.
No, I think that's
Rodgers
David
or
Brent.
Brent. I'll read it again. My biggest mentor is myself because I've had to study, so that's been my biggest influence.
I think that's Rodgers.
It's Rodgers. Who's your biggest mentor? Probably me.
Wow!
Yeah.
Oh, I've gone like edit.
All right, here's one. What about this? It's not always plain sailing, especially when you're flying.
Oh my God! That could go either way, man.
Is that
could
Rodgers
go
or is
either
that
way.
Brent?
I think that it sounds so David Brent. It's got to be Brendan Rodgers.
It's got to be Rodgers, yeah.
It's Rodgers.
Get him back in the fucking Prem. Come on.
Good.
I'd have him at United.
We'd never run out of content. Would we?
Imagine the
We should
concept.
just do a skit of him.
Yeah, we'd want to be in them press conferences. Seriously.
Just at the back, just going.
Do it again.
Yeah, I think that might be it in terms of ones we generally don't know.
I'm gonna have to text Ash and ask him.
I need to watch that documentary
Top
again.
5 Brent quotes.
Yeah.
Because what was it called? Liverpool Till I Die or something, wasn't it? And it was just him just making a knob of
Is it when he's
himself.
showing he's got his self-portrait above his fireplace? Like a 12-foot one.
He painted himself.
And then he's got, he pulled a Fergie trick. Don't do it on a documentary. I mean, this envelope, the one who's going to let me down this season.
Obviously, haven't I?
But what's a weird, it's just weird. Even for Fergie, that was weird.
Yeah.
I didn't think Fergie were like that. I think he was just fretting you to fucking...
Bro, cups of tea at you. Yeah, a bit weird. Obviously, it didn't work out for Brendan Rodgers, but, you know, he's back at Celtic now, living his best life.
Have you watched all 3 episodes of 99 yet?
No.
What?
I haven't. I've just seen the one that we saw. Oh, this is so good.
Wait. No, don't gloss over that. What the fuck are you doing?
Can I shock you? I'm with him. I can't stay. It makes me depressed. Don't give me that look. It does. It doesn't do what it's meant to do.
Jay, it does. I'm about 5 watches deep.
Oh, yeah.
All 3 episodes.
All right, I'll have to. Because I get sad. I think I remember that game. I remember when we were good. I remember when we were mint. Do you know what?
No, just watch it. It's good.
Right, I can happily watch the FA Cup final on repeat at the minute. I'm not over it. I'm not. I can sit there and I can watch the full 90 minutes of the FA Cup final.
Is enough being made of Kobe Mainoo's goal?
No, not at all. Do you know? Remember that video you did where you had that little thing on repeat, laughing?
The Ashley Young one.
Yeah, you could do that with Mainoo's goal for an hour. Go on.
Last one.
Right, this is the last one. We're going to wrap it up after this.
Brent or Rodgers?
Go on.
There's 2 points. First is I don't feel any pressure. I can honestly say that. I have never felt anything other than secure.
That's got to be Brendan Rodgers.
He's never felt...
So it's down the middle.
This man has never felt pressure in his life.
The fact they're so close shows you what an absolute lunatic.
Ricky Gervais did his best work writing these quotes, And that's Brendan Rodgers.
And that is Brendan Rodgers. and this one is definitely Brendan Rodgers because of the phrasing, but I need to read it. It's not just about training players, it's about educating players. You train dogs.
Can't you get him on your show? Can't you get him on Vibe with Fat?
You've got to get him on.
Everybody's mates with him.
And I bet
Fucking Ash played for him and loves him.
I bet you he's sound as well in person.
He probably is.
I bet it's one of them where you go, I can see why players like him.
Yeah, because everyone likes him.
I can see why
Joe as
players
well.
play for him.
Ash is really fucking close to probably the Wales thing as well with Bellamy. He's like, Bellamy is one of the soundest people in the world. I'm like, but couldn't he start a fight in a room on his own?
Yeah. Do you know what though? I've always had a bit of a soft spot for Bellamy. I know he played for City and Liverpool, we all hate him, but I knew, like, right, hear me out. There's lads I know went Vegas and he was there across the road, so they started giving him a load of shit. And he was like quite far away and he ran across the road in fucking Vegas and like kicked off of him. Like one of them was giving him shit and he shit himself. I was like,
what, you make shit himself?
Yeah.
I respect that.
I kind of respect that.
He didn't go to Bayern Munich with
No,
company,
he ain't gone. He ain't gone.
Is he still at Burnley?
I'm not sure if he's still at Burnley, but I think people were saying he wasn't going to go with company. No.
Imagine that.
Well, didn't he do some manners?
Hey, fucking Kimmich!
Hey.
Come here, you fuck!
Is he Scottish?
That was Welshish.
That was Welshish. Somewhere between Wales and Scotland.
Didn't he do a madness Craig Bellamy as well? With like before the 2007 Champions League final, wasn't he twatting people with golf clubs or something?
Yeah,
That was a celebration.
that was him.
He did a golf club twatting celebration afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot to like there.
I liked clubs. Do you know what? I liked Danny Tiatto when I met him on a night out, and he was fucking well sound.
I'll be honest, I don't know who that is.
Danny Tiatto against Manchester United, he was a walking red card and a prick, and you'd have fucking ran down and stabbed him on the pitch. Right? He was horrible. He was a fucking horrible.
Seen him and Kevin Keegan having a row at the touchline? Kevin Keegan tried to put him in an headlock.
What?
Drag him away.
What, his own player?
Danny Tiatto was a fucking knob. I can't even think who you hate.
Really?
Like, what player do you hate at the moment? The way Ash hates Maupay.
Maupay.
You can do that.
Fucking hell. The way he hates him at the moment, Danny Tiatto was worse.
Yeah.
I don't even know if it's like a Ben Thatcher. There was that sort of vibe about him,
That's
wasn't
a
there?
shout with Ben Thatcher. I'm trying to see if I can find...
And he had a shit fucking pencil beard as well, like fucking Beppe from EastEnders, right? But on the piss, turbo sound.
Really?
Yeah, turbo sound. And I hated that I liked him.
Yeah. Was it a good night? Where was it?
Brisingaman's in Old
such a twat when he done it out.
Brisingaman's in Old Age. Fucking hell. You get out in some good places, don't you?
Sometimes. This
Old
is about
Age.
fucking 2002, mate.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Let's have a look.
Size 32 pants.
We'll get this on.
You can't really see it properly now. You need to see the footage, but basically...
You can see Kevin Keegan's face.
Kevin Keegan and Danny Tiatto going for each other.
With just a steward in the middle.
Yeah, it was about. So
that's the City.
There used to be a load that go out. Jeff Whitley used to go out.
Mate, this is peak 90s City.
Brad Friedel was out, mate. Brad Friedel's wife was an absolute smoke show 5000.
Okay.
And lovely as well.
Brad Friedel, was it at Ewood Park where he had the game of his life?
Yeah.
Yeah. Jesus Christ.
Flickcroft was out there. There was a couple of nights. Dwight York in there once. Bartez in there. Smoking.
How are you allowed in? No offence.
My uncle's a bouncer there.
It's always something like that, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's not what you know.
Beckham used to go in there all the time.
Really?
Yeah, and then so there's a couple of times I was in there, and I didn't get within 100 feet of when Beckham went in. I didn't even try because you'd turn up. It'd be like a quiet Sunday night, and like people turn up, players would turn up for like an afternoon, sort of 6 o'clock, little fucking, and then Beckham would turn up, run in, because obviously all the bouncers see him coming. He's coming in like a people carrier, and he's in and he's upstairs and he's into the VIP. And then they lock the VIP, and it's literally just the United players would go in there. So I wouldn't even bother. I'd just hang out with my uncle and that at the front. But then you would have the salutes of Manchester just on the phone. David Beckham's here. And then 17 minutes later, 2,000 girls are standing outside.
Really?
You've never seen anything like it. It's unbelievable, Jeff.
That's mad, yeah.
2002, Manchester, Old Age, Brisingamans, yeah.
Wow, living your best life.
Brisingamans. It's now, I think, is it Piccolino's now? That?
Don't know. I don't know Old Age.
It was. What was the? It was Panacea for a bit.
Gaff that was in Old Age? Was it Tall Trees?
It was Panacea. It's the one next to the train station. It was Panacea for a little bit. Dwight York once had. Do you remember when Dwight York had a fucking Optimus Prime truck?
Vaguely.
Do you want with the big fucking front on it, right?
This rings some sort of. But I think I'm getting him and Chris Eubank mixed up because didn't they both have trucks?
It was the same truck.
Yeah.
It was basically the same truck.
It was on a timeshare.
He saw that and went, "Get me one of those.
Yeah.
But yeah, ridiculous Optimus Prime lorry, right?
That's practical for Manchester.
Dwight York had a lorry, right?
Yeah,
which I don't even know if he's got a D license.
The streets are built for that.
Not a D license, what would it? C license, right? I don't know if he's got a C license. We'll have to ask him.
FaceTime him.
The car
He loves it
park.
when you do that.
Well, I spoke to him about it at the 99 premiere.
Told him, yeah.
I apologised.
Apologise for what?
Prank calling.
Of all the people, Dwight York's not that guy as well. Anyone who knows Dwight York will tell you, like, nice fella, he's not the guy you prank call. Like, it's just, that's not him.
He's not into it.
Steve decided, why not? Let's do this.
Me and Ash prank called him in a show that never went out. It was pretty bad.
Was it bad?
But he recognised me because he was kind of giving me the "fuck do I know you from" eyes. So I walked over and I said, "Listen." And he went, "Where do I know you from?" And I went,
You may remember me.
I said, "Do you know Ash Williams?" I said, "Me and him prank called you." I said, "I just want to apologise." And he was like, "Oh, it's cool." And then we took a selfie and it was all gravy. But anyway, so there's a car park at Brisingaman's. It was probably an 8-car car park.
Did he ask you for the selfie?
No, I asked him.
Yeah.
So it was a small car park, only like 8 cars.
Yeah.
So there's only 8 cars in the bays, and Dwight York just went fucking and just boshed it in the middle, then got off his nut, and then went out somewhere. So there's 8 people's cars got blocked in, and no one could find Dwight York to move his fucking truck.
Fantastic.
You'd be fucking fuming.
He was so upset.
Can you imagine that in the social media world? 'Cause that's 2001 or 2 or something like that. Whereas now people are, that's literally a front page of 9 newspapers.
I was about to say the Daily Mail must have been gutted they didn't have that one, or maybe they did. We'll know. Right, we'll wrap it up there. This has been Off the Bar. That's been Stephen Howson. Go and check out him on all these channels. You know where to find him. You know where to find Joe Smith as well on Sloppy Joe's and on here. Don't forget to hit like, share and subscribe. I'm Jim Moy. This has been Off the Bar. Thanks for watching.